What's up, folks? Told you I'd be back with a new video with some more new music. Here it is. If you watched my last video, all the way to the end, you notice I had a little technical difficulties there. But we're back in force. Like I said, new music. So this is another brand new record by a group called Complex Movements. And if you haven't heard of them at all, actually, don't worry, maybe you have. Uh, the record is called Beware the Dandelions. That's it right there, pictured next to me here. Fancy picture cover, yellow vinyls you see kind of peeking over the top. It's a pretty interesting record from Detroit. So where to start? All right, well, like I said, you probably haven't heard of Complex Movements, right? But Complex Movements is a group consisting of Invincible, the MC, who you may have heard of. She's one of the Anomalies crew going all the way back to like the late 90s. Classic female MC crew featuring Helix C, like they did records with like, the Arsonists. They were on Raucous Records. They did so much stuff, together. Cutting Candy, one of the Beat Junkies, is their DJ. Like an insanely talented, really one of the strongest, most impressive crews out of the late 90s, early 2000s. And unfortunately, they didn't really get that many records out. They never really had a proper deal. Like I said, Invincible was briefly signed to a 12-inch deal with Raucous, and she did some guest spots and all, but the record never came out. And then, Free had a record out on some indie label, the same label the Beat Junkies were on. And they did a couple independent white labels and stuff, but basically they never really came out with that album we should have had. Invincible actually is the only one who came out with a full-length album. So anyway, it's her, and she is the main MC, lyricist, vocalist, songwriter, everything. The other guy, next guy in the group, is Wajid, who's one of her producers who's been with her since, at least that Summertime 7-inch that she came out with years ago. I think he did some stuff on his first album. They certainly did lots of guest tracks together on different kind of projects and all. He's been with her a long time. He's really good, and he's got some really great kind of musical chemistry with Invincible, so I'm happy anytime they want to keep recording together and be, a regular team. I'm 100% for it. And then the only other two guys in the group are like a web designer guy and a publicity guy or something. So as far as the music, it's really basically still just an Invincible solo project. Like the difference between this and her last 7-inch in terms of just, personnel is nil. It's still her doing all the rhymes, both writing and vocally, Wajid doing the production. And then these other guys, I mean, they probably did have some influence in the concepts of the songs and the writing and all, but basically it's Invincible with Wajid. And Invincible is amazing. She's terrific. Like, not only is she part of the Anomalies crew, which is enough, like, just take her records with the Anomalies and boom, you gotta follow her whole career. But even putting that aside, she's got that real kind of battle rap pedigree. So freestyle kind of stuff, hardcore rhymes and punchlines and stuff like that. She's absolutely got it. She's got incredible multi kind of stuff, like multi-syllable stuff. Then she's insanely on the consciousness tip, which we're definitely going to delve into with this record. So she's really got hardcore, serious messages mixed in with crazy battle raps. Great voice and delivery. Like, she's really mastered all the elements. Like, even if you listen to some of her stuff and it's not for you, which maybe is a risk with this record as we'll get into, you can't deny that she's an insanely talented MC. Like, she's right up there with Eminem and, just, again, two people from Detroit. But, like, they don't sound like each other at all. But in terms of skill level, like, the real division between the two is, like, commercial, non-commercial. And frankly, Invincible could do commercial. Like I said, she can do the battle rap, that kind of stuff, too. She just chooses not to. So here we are. This is basically, again, her record, Beware the Dandelions, which is kind of a strange title, but let's get into the whole concept of just what the hell this album is, because it is not just a new record from her or her group Complex Movements. It's a weird thematic concept album thing which has to be explained. See, it has been a long time since Invincible's last record, which is something I pester her about on Twitter and stuff like that. The last thing was just a 7-inch, so it's like 2 songs. So it's been a really long time since her album and everything, and, again, no Anomalies project, of course, in the meantime. So it's been a long time. And one of the things that she's been up to, is just a lot of public works, organizing groups politically, having rallies, all that kind of stuff. She's in Detroit, where, of course, your work is cut out for you there, and she's very much on the forefront there. And she's been doing one thing in particular, which is this kind of interactive theater project. That's kind of the new thing that she's been doing with Complex Movements. That's where the other 2 guys from Complex Movements actually kind of come in and get involved. And interactive theater, in this case, I haven't actually seen it. You have to go to Detroit. But, from what I've read online, what my understanding is like these people are, the audience is kind of put into a pod. And then like you hear these people talking to you from like screens, and you hear, of course, they do some music because again, Invincible, why you're gonna get a lot of rap music. And then there's these things where you kind of like step on buttons on the floor to play a song, and you hear different kind of performances and stuff like that. And then there's like a rally at the end. So I don't know exactly what it is. It sounds a little strange, but the idea is that it's sort of like this kind of futuristic social political message thing where, you know, like the economy's going to hell and you're only surviving in this bubble, and we're going to talk to you about what went wrong. And obviously it's a, you know, a complete message about what's going wrong with politics today. So that's the concept. And this album here is the soundtrack album to that theater experience. Oh, and the other thing I should say right off the bat is this is not the full soundtrack. This is a 6-song EP, which is the highlights, which I think, frankly, is good. That's really all you need on vinyl, because one thing that's good about, you know, pretty much everything Emergence Records does, which is Invincible's label, is they're really good about giving you digital download codes along whenever you order vinyl and stuff like that. And their digital download code isn't just for MP3 versions of what's on the record, but the full soundtrack. And having listened to the full soundtrack, like, you get a lot more skits and, you know, some songs which aren't as compelling. You know, the best stuff that you want to hear outside, if you haven't seen the show, you're not going to see the show, you know, you're nowhere near Detroit. All you really need is the EP. So this is the limited edition. Actually, when I ordered it, I didn't even realize there was a non-limited version, otherwise I might have gone for that. But, you know, cool, we got a much cooler product here. It looks a lot better for the video, so I'm happy. So this is the funky picture cover, which is, I guess, a dandelion. There's actually 6 versions of the picture cover, each one limited to 60 copies. Like I said, they go really all out on the limited edition stuff here. So that equals 360 total, but there is also a more generic non-limited edition, which musically is exactly the same songs on the same vinyl, except in this case the vinyl is yellow and the non-limited version is just your standard black. So let's talk about the actual music on the EP. Like I said, now this is 6 full-length songs. Again, the LP, which you can download, features more skits and odds and ends and stuff, but this is just kind of the best material. And it opens with the best material, a song called Apple Orchid, where the production is incredible. Invisible's flow is a perfect blend with it. Like, it really sounds great. This is the song that you're going to actually go back to and just listen to over and over. It's the kind of that you would put on your phone and play in the car. Like, it's a song you're going to get open to. Some of the other songs on here are a little bit more conceptual, and they're cool. Like, every single song in Invincible's flow sounds great. Most of the songs, the production is great, and when it's not, you can tell there's real talent behind the production on all of the songs. But on some of them, some of the creative choices they make are a little bit more like discordant and got kind of strange noises and stuff, and so you won't be able to feel them quite as much. Like, they all sound good, but, you know, that you're actually going to, you know, download on your phone and rock out to the car. Apple Orchid, yes. Some of the other ones, not so much. They're all pretty good, though. One interesting thing, like I said, is really an Invincible solo project lyrically as the MC, except there's definitely some other lady's voice on here doing some rap stuff, and I don't know who she is. And they have, you know, semi-detailed credits on the back, and she's definitely not credited. And I looked online, I looked on their website, I looked everywhere, nothing. No hint, no suggestion that anybody else is on here, but there's definitely another woman's voice on at least 2 of the songs. Or maybe just one on the EP, and the other one is maybe just on the downloadable album. But some other mysterious lady's on there, but she's fine. She's good. It's not like a whack MC or something. I am really curious who the heck she is, because she's not credited and she's not one of the complex movements, but whatever. You know, if anybody knows, leave a comment in the message, because I would be interested to find out. And then it ends with a song called Wage Love, which is a dedication to Charity Hicks, and that's another one of the best songs. Right after Apple Orchid, it's a really serious song, because Charity Hicks is a woman who, you know, if you know anything about what's going on politically in Detroit, where they turned off the water to public who weren't able to pay their water bills, and so the big resistance movement against that, Charity Hicks really pretty much led that, or at least she was a big leader in that. And so that song is dedicated to her. It's called Wage Love because that was kind of her motto. Wage love is in the opposite of wage war. Okay, so that's what it means. That song doesn't really quite flow as much as Apple Orchid musically, because the hook is a little bit, you know, on the irritating side, but another really strong song. You definitely feel like you're doing your civic duty just by listening to this EP, because it is pure, strong, positive messages, very political, and not just political in a general socio-political sense, like, don't be racist. I mean, it is broadly applicable, but I'm saying it's not just like a very sort of pat song, like, you know, I believe in peace, and that's just a really generic message. This is more, you know, serious and specific. So I absolutely do recommend this EP. Admittedly, I could see it being maybe not for everyone. Even perhaps some previous Invincible fans might say, oh, this is a little too much complex movements, political kind of stuff. But, you know, it's got a positive message, and that's, I was going to say not bad. Actually, it's great. It's great that it has a positive message, especially considering how much hip-hop even to this day, is still not, as much as people sort of talk about how we have to elevate hip hop, still a lot of the junk rises to the top. And I like a lot of negative hip hop, don't get me wrong, gangsta rap and all that kind of stuff can be great. But it's also good to have some of the serious, positive, political, intellectual stuff. And that's what this is, without being too, like, you absolutely do get your backpacker on here. She comes with complex flows, great rhyme schemes, you know, everything you love about Invincible from the past is here, but it's not totally just, a mental, intellectual exercise. You know what I mean? It is a dope EP to listen to, especially the highlights. YG has some great production. You do get the rest of the album as a digital download when you buy the EP, so that's nice, even though you're probably going to skip a lot of it on future listens. Still cool to have. And it's definitely an interesting, weird concept thing when you do know the concept of Beware the Dandelions, the theatrical piece. Definitely kind of an unusual hip hop record in that respect. So pretty cool. Definitely recommend it. I mean, Invincible's always terrific, and she's still terrific. Uh, so maybe not her best record, but some really solid material that can stand alongside her previous material. It's also really not a big step down. Not her best record, but you're not like, ooh, this is only for the hardcore fans or something. So, Beware the Dandelions by Complex Movements. Gonna play some clips now. Hopefully, Emergence Records is a little bit more forgiving of sound clips. Here we go.
Behind the barbed wire fence, electrified gate, control temperature, perfected climate, counts around and pays $1 per drop of water. The tree stirs, much and hydrate, genetic engineer, synthetically extend your years. Even bigger skeptics bite bait. Workers can't afford it if you eat when you get tortured. Apples marketed at high rates. The town creatures start to eat in secrecy. Plan a way to overthrow the grounds. Keep us figure how to interfere with frequency. The security surround sound speakers, send a message out. Quick to be a sound Venus crime. Lands on the line, proclaim beware of the dandelion. Made an escape for ample time. Hey, have you seen the apple orchard where the trees attract the tortured, where they keep the cactus gorgeous? Have you seen the apple orchards where the trees attract the tortured, where they keep the cactus gorgeous? Snow blankets the ground, harder than freezing, no banquets around, starving the season in bushels and pounds. Harvest the region, no garden for eating, they garden with cheese and the taste, even ones with the rotten skin. Peel them with applesauce, cotton gin, drop them in a gold plated box to be sold with and stocked, and an old lady drops, hasn't eaten in months, malnourished. I remember the day I put those white gloves on, lowered you down in the ground along with 5 more pallbearers. Since you've been gone, I see it all clearer. The way the lies were distorted like a fun house hall mirror, and how the groundskeepers refused to investigate it. We built your altar, they threatened the rest of me desecrated. Tapped in your profound wisdom, played back in the song you recorded. Hacked into their sound system, banners hung all through the orchard. Sat down with the elders while the hospice in their bedroom, with the youngsters and the hustlers, sing your stories like an heirloom. And we scheme and plan how to honor your memory. Found the sacred seeds in the captive band contained all the remedies. And we channel the energy into the workshops, alchemy lessons, strategy sessions, every direction. Wild as the bird flock. And we wrote these lyrics. And we made this music, the road is jagged. So to get shit, we hope you hear this. Relate the blueprints. We're sick of mourning these stolen lives. Sometimes the pain can make you feel immobilized. Wipe the tears, we swollen knives. It's time to rise and organize. We're sick of mourning these stolen lives and wonder if the system has a soul inside. They sold us lies, they polarized, but it's time to rise and organize. This is for Charity Hicks. Ashe. Cause you gave us clarity with your call to action. You brought together all the factions to move beyond a small reaction. A movement weaver, Brazil to Tunis, to Senegal to Montreal to Jackson. Your raging fierceness combined with a mind of encyclopedias. You made us fearless, oh water warrior. Instead of mourning, yo, we plant you like seeds. So many are born from now. Vision and resistance, you live with your existence. Connected all the dots through a way to formula. By the river of Detroit before the hour was stolen. Your smile is golden. We heed your warning to wage love, wage love. Wage love, wage love, wage love.